What's up, sons? It's Blind Run. Let me spell it out for you. B-L-I-N-D-R-U-N with Son of a Tech once again. And there are rumors flying about a new Polaris GPU. Yeah, that's right. A GTX 1050, even more odd, 3GB version. So plus 1GB. My question is, of course, more memory is good for mining, right? All the time? Well, maybe not. We're going to discuss that. Is this GTX 1050 3GB going to be possibly good for miners, or should you skip right over it? Stick around. Welcome back. So if you guys have been doing some of the budget mining or checking out my channel, you've seen me mine on GTX 1030s. Of course, the caveat to that is that you want to make sure you get those GT 1030s with the GDDR5 and not the DDR4. Those sneaky guys over at NVIDIA making all those releases with DDR4 and not marking them, it's awful. Pretty much all the scandals surrounding memory right now are awful, but those are topics for another time. Go check out Gamers Nexus if you want to get any more information on the shady things NVIDIA, Intel, or AMD are doing, because they are covering that very, very well. What we're going to talk about today is going to be the GTX 1050 leak for a 3GB model. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, recently NVIDIA actually launched a GTX 1065GB. So it's only in China. We don't actually have it over here, and it's 1GB short of the GTX 1066GB. This was mostly done for internet cafes to specifically support PUBG. You can see me having PUBG up over here, and that's because it needed some more memory, but a cheaper option for them to actually run the game at 1080p with decent settings. And if you guys play PUBG, you know decent settings means turn all the foliage off. So there's some caveats there. You don't really have to run it at max settings. Just keep that in mind. Pro players, turn things down on low. I don't know. That's what I heard. Regardless, the 1080p problem lately is that it requires more VRAM, and one of the things that is really damaging on the lower end market to NVIDIA is not having enough memory on the actual GPU to go ahead and run 1080p with the textures or the texture requirements in a lot of newer games, or even games that were out previous to the 1050 even launching, such as Rise of the Tomb Raider. Because of this, the assumption is the NVIDIA is making the GPU for that. And I would assume that that actually is true, because if we take a look at some of the leaked stats on this particular card, you'll notice something very concerning, especially when it comes to mining. And that's that the memory bus is only 96 bits, as opposed to on the GTX 1050 2GB and the 1050 Ti, you have a 128-bit bus. And you can actually see that this has been kind of an interesting release pattern on the Pascal GPUs, because the GTX 1060 has, wait for it, right, a 3GB and a 6GB, and then of course a 5GB. And this is because the width of the bus will actually determine the size of the memory that can be allotted for the card. So what you'll notice on the GTX 1060 3GB is that you'll see a bump in the bus width from the 96-bit that's rumored on the 1050 3GB to a 192-bit, a perfect doubling right there. However, if you're going to try to put 3GB on a 128-bit bus, it wouldn't work. They'd have to go to 4GB, and that's kind of what the 1050 Ti is there for. So because the actual bus is smaller than you would see on a GTX 1050, some algorithms are probably not going to react to it well. One of the algorithms that I can think of off the top of my head is going to be Equihash, which does have a stronger dependence on the core clock. And because of this, what's happening is, even though it's still memory intensive, it needs a wider memory bus to communicate between what's been loaded into the video memory and then what's going to the core clock. So I'm actually going to come out and say that if you guys are looking at purchasing a budget version of a GPU for, of course, mining, the 1050 3GB is not going to be for you. I will test it, and I hope that I'm proven wrong. However, in most situations, it doesn't seem like it's going to be worth it. There are some options, of course, that may be good for some of the lower DAG size ET hash coins. But at this point, I don't think anybody's really mining those. And there are new algorithms coming out that lend themselves much better to graphics cards and of course ASICs resistance and so on and so forth. So I'm not really seeing it or buying in on that whole 3 gigabytes for extra DAG size. It's just not worth it. So I'm curious what you guys think about NVIDIA possibly launching a GTX 1050 3 gigabyte on an old architecture when they're supposed to be getting new GPUs out. Let me know in the comment section below. I also have a SOAK coin built into my Twitch channel. If you come over there and watch, you can earn free games. I'd love to see you guys in chat. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. It's twitch.tv/sonofatech_. If you'd like to talk about mining, video games, PC mods, pretty much anything under the sun that has to do with tech or technology, come hang out in Discord as well. I'll see you next Tuesday.